All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you live from our studio in South Florida, doing the first look section of our Spotlight stream, where we talk about our favorite parts of the game that we just played. In this case tonight, that was Vengeance by Greenbrier Games. If you haven't had a chance to check it out and you're watching on VOD, go check that out now. We'll be available on both Twitch and YouTube. But first off, some quick introductions. I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
And we are Twist Gaming. So we had the pleasure of being joined with two special guests on the stream today. We had the game designer Gordon on, and he's awesome. He had
Gordon's
some
very
great stuff to say about the game. He knows a lot of stuff. He had a lot of really interesting insight into the game. And then once he signed off because he's
out in Europe, so
it was 2:30 in the morning his time. We had the lovely Julie from Greenbrier Games join us, who provided her ability to kill us that she always has. She loves to watch us die. But the structure of our Spotlight section in the first look is we talk about our favorite parts of the game as well as any constructive criticisms we have. And we'll typically do the winner of the game goes first. That's me. Yep. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to go first and talk about my favorite parts. So without any further ado, this was Vengeance. First of all, the biggest thing that I like when I play any type of board game is unique character abilities and character customization. Each of these characters did have unique abilities in several senses here. So they each had a unique skill that they possessed. So I had slow-mo vision, which unfortunately I actually never had the pleasure of using. I didn't roll any triple of the bad guy activation die there.
Neither of us did.
Yeah, so didn't get to use it. A little bit disappointing. But we each had unique characteristics here for the health, skill, and mind. So I was the wise old punk rocker. So I had the highest mind of anyone, and mind is what allowed you to roll your montage dice in the beginning. So it's basically how you play out in the game.
What was the last thing we forgot? We forgot to minus our
yeah. I had no minus.
Yeah.
So
it wouldn't have mattered, but...
the next one is skills. So that's going to be your attacking ability for when you're doing your fight rolls. And then finally is your health, which is self-explanatory. That's your health.
Yep.
So because I'm the old man, I didn't have the greatest health. My skill was middling, but my mind was where it was at. So I really love the individual character abilities there, but most importantly, I loved the customization here, the ability upgrades. So there is a slew of different upgrades that you can essentially buy, quote-unquote, from the game as you're playing, and this is going to allow you to modify your rolls, become stronger, more versatile, give you more options as you're playing. And I really enjoyed trying to see how they synergized with each other and make the best fight rolls possible. Yeah. And then on top of that, too, there's the permanent ones, which is the ability upgrades, and then there's the one-of-a-kind or one-time use, item upgrades. So like the hollow point bullets add 1 damage to all results there. And I really appreciate the fact that there's permanent as well as temporary upgrades that you can get, and like kind of weighing the benefits of those. And then on top of that too, we had individual montage cards where 5 of the 6 are pretty much the same, if not similar, between our characters, minor differences. We each had a completely unique one to our characters, which is going to give us a separate, unique upgrade as well. So this game is definitely not lacking in terms of character customization and abilities, and I really do appreciate that with the game. Instead of just me talking for a while, let's bounce back and forth a little bit. Okay. So, Josh, what's some of your favorite parts about the game?
I really like the style. Like, it's a little bit... There's some strategy to it. It's kind of... It reminds me a little bit of One Deck Dungeon.
Okay.
Of using skills to mitigate your dice rolls and stuff like that. And
yeah.
It's just a lot more hectic. I was actually looking at some of the other characters, and kind of wanted to play as this next time. She starts with...
she's the florist.
The florist, but she starts with 5 attack dice.
Oh.
She starts with the green die.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's actually a little powerful. She doesn't have a lot of health. And her mind's actually not that bad. She would have actually been an interesting one to play with. So each character is a little bit different. She had that charge ability, basically. That was her...
For free. Yeah.
So I could see playing with different
characters to alter your strategies.
Alter your strategy a little bit.
Yeah.
And I could see this being more players, a lot more...
Hectic,
and people going after the same boss. Though we kind of did that at the beginning.
Yeah. weirdly enough, we had the same
Yeah.
exact setup in the beginning, which was kind of amusing.
So we had that going on. I, f- I enjoyed a lot of this game of just the the theme,
Hmm.
the the combat. It was all very simple.
Yeah,
It wasn't overly complicated. There's
but
a lot to this game, but it wasn't overly complicated.
yeah, I was gonna say in the same sense, there is a lot going on. It's
Matt, can you put
just
the board cam
not
on?
complicated. So yeah, we'll put the board cam
Can I
up
have
here. The
Oh, I
remote.
forgot to take Julie's thing off here. But
There's a lot of components going on.
there's components all the way over here.
Yeah.
To
It's there's a good amount of stuff, and I would
all the
like
way over
to
there.
piggyback off of Josh's comment
You can switch back now.
about the theme of the game. I absolutely adore the theme. I love the revenge flick. This reminds me a lot of like Kill Bill and Django, and it's got a little bit of a Tarantino feel to it, and it's really thematic and visual the way that the game plays out. There's not a ton of descriptive text. I don't think it needs it.
No, like if you look
Because-
at the rulebook, it's like you can kind of be descriptive of what you're doing as you're fighting through the rooms and give that
Right.
story vibe and have that storytelling element if you want to.
But it leans heavily on the tropes that are associated so commonly within the revenge film media. We've got the Serbian gang, we've got the Yakuza gang, we've got the biker gang. There's the typical inner city gang, and each one's got unique abilities as well. And even the locations are. It's just where they are, but just the art style of them and the name of them, you know exactly what it is. Like the one, I'm just like, oh, that's the Russian bathhouse. You know, that's where all the Russian gang members are hanging
Or the
out.
chop shop.
Yeah, the chop shop. It plays so heavily off the tropes, and I love it just because it allows you to kind of weave that image in your head to play along with the game. And I'm very interested too. So Gordon was telling us in the beginning of the stream of our spotlight that the game has a recommended soundtrack that he put together.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that he went that far into it. He was saying that he kind of tied in the feel, the beat of the songs and the tempo to the typical gameplay time associated with it. So that way, it literally should be a synced background track, and like that's hardcore. That's awesome, and I would love to try that in one of our personal games of this. So, back to you, sir.
I think we hit on. I mean, the minis are awesome.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
Oh, I'm gonna jump back in here, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say this is a shout out to Anne. Each one of the character boards has a quick reference here
Yeah.
that says exactly what the rounds are, and this goes back to there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not complicated because this was laid out nicely. So the montage round, you're gonna draft your montage deck, you're gonna assign the montage cards, you're gonna buy the vengeance cards, you're gonna set the player order. Boom, you know exactly what's going on. It's concise and it lets you know everything, and it's right there in front of your face the entire time, and I like it. Okay, so Josh, anything else you want to touch on in terms of things you enjoyed about the game before we go into any constructive criticisms that we have?
We didn't really mention the art and everything else.
The art's pretty.
Yeah, it's all pretty. There's nothing. Looking at, there's slightly different style between the board and the rest of the art, but it's not.
It's not a detraction at
No.
all. No, I like it a lot. It's
But
fun.
no, yeah.
So jumping into constructive criticisms, I'm going to shoot this over to you because I'm going to have to think a little bit on this one.
All right. So first thing, since everyone who watches regularly should know, I'm colorblind.
Yeah.
There was a few little difficulties
Okay.
with it. They weren't major. The yellow and green were a little hard.
Yeah,
me.
you mix that up once or twice, and
And-
it's not very common on the boss cards. And let me see if I could find that one super quick to show off in the camera. But go ahead and keep on.
Here's something.
So yeah, this is one where it's got the yellow icon on the top, and
That's the green. I mean, there's
yeah, that's the green icon there. So it's of course that one's green screening, but Josh had a little bit of problems telling those apart. It would have been nice if there was unique symbology between the two, so you can tell it apart from without a pure color differentiation there.
And then the other thing that is slightly confusing is each clan had its own color,
Yeah.
but wasn't represented by the bases at all.
Right. That's actually what confused me when we were doing our practice session beforehand.
Yeah.
I was tying the base colors to the clan colors because they actually do line up with the clan colors, but there's not necessarily a correlation between the two. It's the red base minis are the different clan members. The black base minis are the grunts. The yellow base minis are the blockers. So the bases actually tie into the specific roles of the characters,
Yeah.
whereas the gang cards are different, but they share the same color. So that's
Yeah.
a little gripe that I had there.
Yeah, and the other thing is, so like the gang members all had red, and the bosses, the miniatures are like slightly bigger.
Yeah, they are slightly bigger. So this is an example here. This is one of the bosses here, and then this is one of the
But
henchmen.
this is one of the other bosses, and it's just he's not.
Yeah. So this is one of the other bosses, and it is they are unique, the bosses, to the cards of the boss themselves. So, for example, this here is this boss, and you can see he's got his little monkey on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But it takes you that extra second or two to differentiate which one's which, and I think I did do that once or twice during the game.
So it's minor. It's not like a huge thing. I would have liked another color, and I would have liked it if the clan colors didn't match the base colors.
Yeah.
Especially the red with the Hell Ride.
The Hell Riders, yeah.
Just really,
Threw you for a little bit of a loop.
yeah. So, but I mean, it wasn't a big thing. That was like the biggest.
It just had it made us pause for the calls once or twice to
Yeah.
double check what we were doing there. I can't really think of any other real criticisms that I have.
The other criticism I have, and I need to play more games of it to like.
get a full feel. And
So,
again,
like-
this is a first
Yeah,
look.
we played one game.
Yeah.
One full game. The taking damage to your skills
Yeah.
that's like the worst thing to take damage to.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't mind the mind damage because I didn't feel like I could heal that much during the montage, and it wasn't that often the montage happened.
Well, kind of interesting too is the fact that I had a higher mind score than you most of the time, anyways. So
Yeah.
you were actually leaning on my quantity of dice rolls to have better choices for your drafting.
Yeah. So there's that mechanic there, but but like when you get down to just 3 dice,
For your attacking,
yeah,
for your
you're
fighting,
just-
it's awful.
it's just not happening.
Especially if you happen to roll a bad guy activation.
Which is a 1/3 chance.
yeah, 2 out of 6.
2 out of 6. So it's just
So if you're rolling 3 dice, odds are you're gonna roll 1.
yeah, like it's almost like if you have only 3 dice to roll, you're not even rolling the green dice with it. You might as well just sit and heal.
Yeah.
And that's what my attempt. I was actually thinking about healing first
Yeah.
and then going in for that last round. But I wouldn't have got enough points
Right.
to make a swing, so I had to
Yeah.
pull the Hail Mary, which is interesting in itself. But like, yeah, I was just trying to.
It's definitely going to take multiple playthroughs of this to really get a feel for what to prioritize in terms of your characters, and then even just attacking the different gangs, just because it's they've each got unique abilities. Each character has unique ability. You have to sync up your strategy to how to deal with that. So it's a game that definitely benefits from multiple playthroughs, from what it seems like on the first
Yeah.
look. So the first one's going to be a little rough, a little choppy, and you guys did see that. I would like to point out that what we like to do here is we have one person thoroughly study the rules. That would be Josh in this case. And then someone that's not as informed, that would be me here. We did do a brief overview just because there is a nice amount of moving components to this game, and we wanted to make sure that it wasn't super clunky. So we didn't have anyone coming in completely blind, but you could see that this is a game that you need to pick up once before you get completely comfortable with it.
I would have liked to see some more achievement cards. I thought that would have. I thought they were really fun,
Yeah.
but we saw
And a big
4 of them.
a big proponent of that is the fact that we're playing a 2-player game instead of a
probably.
4-player game.
Because I was just looking here, and some of these are like.
Really nifty.
Yeah, so if you did not score a boss's combat round, discard 1 vengeance card in play or from your hand and gain a point.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, finally, is there anything else that you want to go over before we get into the big question of the evening?
I think that's mostly it. Component-wise, everything was fine. I had to put all these little bases on. I mean, some tedious stuff to it, but nothing. Components are pretty good.
Green dice don't show up on our cameras.
Green dice don't show up for cameras. Just like any PvC minigame, there is some some models are slightly bent,
Yeah,
and all you do is put them in hot water on. But like it's not.
I
But
see.
we have a couple of.
We got Michael Jackson from Thriller over here, where he's doing the gangster lean forward, and then we've got a couple of curved swords.
Oh, yeah, lots of curved swords, and then we got Neo there.
Neo from the Matrix taking the bullet time.
Yep. But I mean, it's all fixable and stuff like that. Yeah, and I don't know why people try to make swords because this is what happens to every single sword I get is it just
And
becomes a little
a bent stick.
bent stick. But that's not. It's all fixable stuff. It's all minor little things that any miniature game has that tendency to happen with. But no, I think that's it.
Okay, number one question of the evening. I'm going to shoot it to you first. Would you play this again?
Yes, and I might even try out the solo mode.
I'm curious as to how the solo mode plays. The answer for me is I definitely want to play this again. I love the theme of it. I really love the revenge flick theme. I'm in not the opposite boat, but I want to see how a full game plays.
Yeah, the chances of us actually playing a full game off stream is very limited.
Yeah,
The
that's
chances
true.
of me actually maybe sitting down and playing a solo is a much more
Yeah.
possible.
Very true. But no,
for
I'd
me.
love to see how it operates with the more players in the game. I think it's going to make it a much more fun experience. And definitely, honestly, I could see this game being really fun after a few cocktails, too, just because you really get into the whole, like, the optional role playing aspect of this is how I'm shooting everyone. And
Storytelling and stuff.
I'm going in like John Wick, and I'm going pew, 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 pew. With those sound effects. You have to have the sound effects. And then playing with the soundtrack as well. I'm really curious as to what that's like. So, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us this evening. This was our spotlight of Vengeance by Greenbrier Games. Tale of Revenge, I like it. We would like to point out that this stream and all of this week's streams are sponsored by Vengeance by Greenbrier Games, so big shout out to them. Thank you very much. And a big thank you to Gordon and Julie for joining us on the stream and having a good time with us and answering all of our questions. So without any further ado, this is going to be Twist Gaming signing off. We hope to see you all again soon. I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.